Some of the people that I talk to, obviously, being a startup, again, we get a lot of folks who are entrepreneurial, and in general, I think that entrepreneurial, sparkle is still in our culture,
Sure.
because most people don't really understand what it is to be an entrepreneur and how fucking hard it is and non-glamorous.
Yeah.
But I guess for those people who want to own their own business, because I hear that a lot,
Yeah, sure.
how does that change your path? I don't know if you have any thoughts around that at all.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought is don't get an MBA. Don't spend $200,000 if you wanna go start a business. Look, if you want to start a business, nothing's going to matter except for, well, actually, a lot of things are going to matter, but your background's going to matter a lot less than your network, your skill set, and the actual like nature of the business that you're starting, right? Like my advice to folks that want to go into that want to be entrepreneurs is like, great, just if you want to be an entrepreneur, go do it tomorrow. Like, go incorporate as an LLC and figure out something to do and start doing it.
Or go get a year of experience in that industry, steal all the good things you can, and then
Yeah, but like so that's the actual answer, right? Because really, like folks that are just coming out of school and trying to start a business, they're gonna have a tough time, right? Because like they don't know, their potential customers yet. They don't know all of the, kind of like pain points and problems that their potential customers are gonna have. They're
and you're going to
still
burn through money learning that, honestly, like that experience. You need to have more money if you don't have, less experience you have.
Yeah, you need to have I mean, I don't think there is an amount of money that substitute for that, right? That's a substitute for really understanding, like markets and customers and what they care about. Unsubstitutably helpful to go and work in the kind of functions that you think are going to be your superpower before you actually go and start a business. And I guess like when I say the kinds of functions that are going to be your superpower, like my old company, like the president, like to boil it down to this, right? There's basically three things that you can do in a business that adds value. Like one is selling things, two is delivering things, and then three is building things. If you're not doing one of those things, then you're like administering things, and you are not that valuable. You are, you are more disposable, and like maybe that's a bit harsh, but I think that there's a lot of wisdom there as it relates to, kind of like career planning with entrepreneurship in the mix, right? Which is to ask yourself the question, like, well, what am I going to be best at? Am I going to be best at building things? Am I going to be best at selling things? Or am I going to be best at making sure that customers actually have like, a great experience and that folks get like the outcomes that they want as a result of like purchasing my product?
How do you build value? How do you build value better for your clients than the competition?
Yeah, exactly. So like going out and actually having a sales job or, like an account management or operations job, or, potentially a product job, or, some kind of like technical job, like engineer, working on that stuff in an industry that you think that you would like to be in for a couple of years is indispensable because of two things. Like one, or I mean, so just setting aside the fact that you actually like learn how to do these things that are ultimately important to you. One, it's the people that you meet. So it's not just prospective customers where you can go and walk in there and pitch them, but it's also folks that may have been, prospective customers in the past, or may just be friendly enough to like take a look at what you're doing and give some feedback and like tell you why this thing sucks, right? Like a lot of product. I mean, I read some statistic yesterday that something like 34% of startups fail because of poor product market fit, which means that like you as an entrepreneur went out and like built something that like nobody was particularly asking for and nobody was saying that they really wanted, right? But like when you actually know folks that have been kind of like working, that have been in the industry, that are buying those things or that are kind of like working to solve those things, there's a lot of places that you can get feedback to make sure that you're killing like bad ideas really early. So that's the first piece. But then also don't forget about collaborators, right? Like folks that you could potentially hire to work for you, like vendors, all kinds of stuff like that. Like that, that network piece ends up being totally invaluable when you want to start a business. But then also just kind of going back to the product market fit piece, like having been in that industry and like, whatever industry you were in and talking to people and understanding like where the gaps are is definitely the best way to go and start a company. Like go find something that is painful for people. And when I say painful, I mean, man, like I'm doing all of this shit manually because there's no automated solution and it's making my life miserable. Or man, every time I have to do this, it's like so damn expensive for me that like it, like eats up half of my margin. Things that are like huge problems end up making for great businesses, not things that are like nice to have, right? Like really nice if I had like a robot massaging my head right now, but like I'm not going to go out and spend like $2,000 on it,
I
even
feel like your experience at Bain is probably coloring some of that in terms of, because I hear technology solutions, and
yeah.
that's where the unicorns grow out of is technology because of the massive scalability and upside.